But mentally, I don't think people are aware how artists or creatives are in their head. That Friday at Tomabrasa, this is the thing, I'm gonna
Going
be
for
a
it.
comedian. The police vans just arrived and I ran home. I left Omabrasa. It's like,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Catch Up Podcast. As always, I'm super excited to be here. I'm your host, Blake the Champ, joined by
Jared Smith, aka J Smooth.
And before we get the episode started today, we want to send a big shout out to Crocs for powering all of these episodes. You guys are absolutely amazing. And then, of course, as you notice, we only have the top equipment in the game. We're working with Rode. A big shout out to Rode. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Today's episode is super special and dear to my heart. A friend of mine, I can call him. We went to SP together, SP boys in the building. He was also a Western Province cricket player and then completely transformed his professional career, and he's built an incredible brand for himself.
Yeah.
He was the sports presenter on Good Up FM. I think you're starting to know who I'm talking about here. And now he is one of our very own, one of the best comedians to come out of Cape Town, South Africa. We got Dalin Oliver in the building.
Let's go, baby.
how's that intro, man?
Lekker, Jay.
Somebody
Just
crying
for
over
you.
here. Thank you. I also want a nickname. So we got Blake the Champ, J Smooth.
Yeah.
Am I who? D-Dog, D-Dala,
D-Dwala.
No, here's my nickname. Growing up, I was barefoot a lot. They call me Dali Duck Twin. So, Dali Duck Twin in the building.
Okay, so for international people,
Yes.
can we translate that Afrikaans into English?
100%. So
Please.
Dali because Dalin. Mom
Okay.
used to call me Dali.
Yeah.
And then Duck Twin because I had a big toe. A twin is a toe.
Which toe is big?
The big one.
Okay, the big
So
one's
I got a
big.
big, yeah.
Extra large.
Extra large.
Okay.
My it looked like I have 5 thumbs on my feet.
Did you have to get special socks for that?
I had patatrappers. That's the right word. I literally was up to a size 10, 11 cricket shoe by 18, 17.
I must be honest, when I went to go get your Crocs yesterday,
Yes.
and you told me size 10, I looked
Yes.
at those shoes and I thought, but Dalen's not that tall.
Yes.
And I started getting worried.
I know.
I got anxious. Now, am I getting the right size yet? Because these shoes look like
It's
this.
massive. Look here. It's massive. You know what they say about guys with big feet?
Yeah, let's not
They
go
wear
there.
big
eh?
They wear big socks.
I love it. Bro, I feel like in this episode we're going to need a whole lot of translations to
Yes.
educate
I'm
the
gonna-
international
I'm going to
audience.
keep the language very
No,
international.
keep it real. We can translate.
Let's make it an educational episode, bro.
I think it's the first one where we're translating duck to in the first 5 minutes.
I love it. Love
I
it.
appreciate that.
Bro, we're honestly so excited to have you here.
Great to be here.
Appreciate it. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you for having me on, and thanks for the invite. You mentioned SP. Yep, there we go.
Yep.
Not to serve, but to serve. Non ministradis, sed ministradis.
There we
that
go.
was the motto. There we go. We learned that when we were in detention. I was watching Blake dance through the window during interval detention. He was just there, my bro. Life of the party. Trendsetter, global trendsetter. So much love. I don't even know. I think Jared knows when I first met him.
Yo,
I don't know.
let's
This was wild. I was doing my practice teaching. I'm a qualified high school maths and history teacher, right?
Okay.
And you do observation first. So I did my PGCE, which is your postgrad certificate in
Yeah.
education. That's 1 year after your degree. So if you do the full 4-year course, then you're in schools and back and forth between classes. But then if you do postgrad, it's 1 year. And then observation, I was at Norman Enschelud.
Okay.
And then you came to speak to the kids at Norman Enschelud. Mr. Miller was still
Okay.
the
Crazy.
principal at the time, and I was blown away. You came just after second break or during second break. I'm like, who's this brother just bringing all the juice and all the good stories and motivation? And that was in 2012, bruh. So shout out to you.
Thanks,
that was
bro.
12 years ago.
Shout out, appreciate
My
that.
first introduction to you, I'm like, no, amazing. And then we bumped into each other through work, through events, through everything. And now we are. I have less hair, you've got more hair and nicer hair. So
I've got grey hairs now and I got 2 kids. So I'm also getting
George
older.
Clooney, bruh, that salt and pepper sexiness.
Lekker.
That's actually crazy. 2012. That's the year that we actually
launched
started
Second
and launched
Chance, yeah.
Second Chance. Yeah,
Is it?
it's amazing, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
We met the year before that, 2011,
Yeah.
and 2012. That's when we started. That's when we say that was the beginning of Second Chance.
And what a great journey it's been so far, man.
Sure, bro.
Yeah.
Couldn't have asked for a better journey, to
From
be honest. Grateful,
Cape Town,
grateful.
South Africa to the world.
I wanted to
100%.
find out, sorry man, growing up for you, did you grow up with mom and dad? Where did you grow up?
So I was very fortunate because my parents were married. They were together. I didn't grow up in a single parent household. We grew up in Retreat, Ardley Park. Shout out to the 7945.
There we go.
We're very weird in South Africa. We like giving postal codes in Cape Town. We're like, yes, the 7945. People who don't know, they're like, what's that? You're like, it's our area code. Leave us alone. The postman don't come anymore. Leave us alone, right? So the area was special because we grew up with 7 close friends. Blake might know some of them. They were at SP.
Yeah.
Shaquille Smith, Bradley Isaacs, Craig Hoof. They were SP boys. And Jamie Brown was Normies, Michael Jumat. Bergfleet, and then Nicholas Daniels. Nicky's overseas now, but there were 6, 7 of us that grew up very, very close together. And each generation had like 6, 7 boys, which was pretty cool. So 5, 8 years apart. So we grew up playing in the streets, which was the best thing.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for my childhood because my friends were next door neighbors, back door neighbors, 3, 4 houses down the road. So school holidays was playing butt soccer and cricket in the road or at St. Mary's at the school or at the Civic Centre.
Yeah.
And then when it was at St. Mary's or at the Civic Centre, we'd be playing against our friends from Cavda. Like the Civic Centre was the battleground.
Yeah.
That's where we'd meet. And then if it wasn't, then it was at St. Mary's or if we went up to 6th, 7th Avenue side. So it was a beautiful thing where we were just off the avenues, but in that space, the best and lifelong friendships were formed. I'm still very close friends with all of them. I got married last year, which was great, and they all attended my wedding,
Amazing.
Yeah,
which was
amazing.
fantastic. And then you always have that friend who just lives outside the area, but they're part of it. That was Julian Olsen, Jules, right? He was part of it, and I always laugh with Jules because if he was in Heathfield and we were in Retreat, and people will know that the connecting part about Retreat to the rest of the southern suburbs was Morgan's back in the day. It was the smoky in Boundary Road, right?
The drive-through.
The drive-through. So when I explain to people I'm from Retreat and they don't know where Retreat is, I'm like, do you know where the drive-through smoky is? They're like, yes. I'm like, that's the area. That's the
Good
area.
reference point.
Yes, that's the area.
Morgan's made Retreat famous.
Yeah. And what happened one night, my mommy, no one knows about this, just me and Julian, we were laughing. Mommy, Daddy, love you. This is an amazing story you'll hear. So we went there, we took a walk. It was one night.
How old were you at the time?
We were 18. We were 18. Yeah, we were 18. And we took a walk to Morgan's. And then we went to go buy Langbira. And then I'm duck nervous. I'm like, my bro, I don't know what to do here. This is my first time in a smoky. I've only heard about these things. I don't think that I must go here. I'm a nervous lighty, right?
Yeah.
I'm a nervous lighty. So I get in there with Jules. And as the bra gives us so we walked now. So it's about 6 avenues. And we walked, and as the bra gave us the beers, I just dropped it in the smoky.
Oh,
by
no.
mistake. No, by mistake. And now, plus, bra, I'm light skinned. They're like, Vis Boera, what is happening over here? Is this bra from the area? Luckily, they were nice enough. Nothing bad happened, nothing untoward. But I was laughing, going, this is a lesson. Don't walk to the smoky Dalin and don't go buy long beers on your own. Yeah, I don't have the street cred. I can't pop it open.
What an icebreaker that was.
Yeah. Yeah. You can cut it out.
So, bro, take us back, because before I met you, we met at high school. Where did it start for you as a young boy with a dream? What did you have in mind for your future? Because I know you played cricket, you enjoyed it. You had a lekker upbringing, around good people. You guys obviously all sticking together and so on. But for you, where did your dream start?
Yeah, so growing up, I think as any kid, if you play a sport and you're fairly good at it, your dream is to be a professional sports person.
Yeah.
I think that's the standard MO, right? And then cricket was eat, sleep every day, 7 days a week. It was eat, sleep, cricket. Started playing mini cricket at St. Anthony's Primary and then went to St. Augustine's Cricket Club. Paul Adams. Yeah, so Gogi was still playing to the back end of his career when I started playing first team club cricket at 15. And Saints was amazing because it was the breeding ground for me. It was the club that opened up my eyes to the possibilities of the cricket world, right? But equally, St. Anthony's, in 2001, we went on cricket tour to England. We had just amazing teachers. And I actually saw one of them at my show in London, Mr. Ishmael. And I asked him, sir, we didn't even have a cricket field at St. Anthony's. There was a tarmac.
Yeah, that's
we went
crazy.
to go play cricket overseas. Make it make sense, right?
You also play Bakers.
Bakers,
Yeah,
Bakers,
mini
mini
cricket.
cricket.
Bakers, mini cricket,
Yeah. Everyone played it back in the day, right? So then he's like, no, him and Mr. Sill, Bradley Sill, they were chatting one night and they were like, imagine we can give our boys the opportunities to travel, because a lot of us were playing for the local clubs, St. Augustine's and Bluebells mainly, right? And then from there, they set up a cricket tour for 3 weeks in the UK, and the best time of our lives, because as kids, we only saw the places we went to on TV.
Yeah.
Right? And my late auntie Lorraine, my dad's sister, when they told her we're coming over, they stayed in a small town called Tetbury. She literally had like meetings every month with the people there to say, my nephew's coming over. She and her husband, Uncle Neil, they were like, we're going to accommodate them. So she got like up to 10 of her friends to accommodate all of us for
crazy.
a week in Tetbury.
Amazing.
We stayed at their houses. We were fed. We were looked after. We were treated like royalty.
Yeah.
It was so wild for us because we're like, we just like this. This isn't what's supposed to happen, right? And then they did a collection. We went to mass on Sunday with the St. Anthony's Primary Mensa. And then they did a collection, which was amazing because that collection they did at church, I remember, allowed us to go to Old Trafford and Manchester.
Wow.
So we went to Old Trafford and Anfield as 13-year-old kids from Cape Town, South Africa.
That's
Again,
crazy.
only stuff we see on TV.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we went for the tours. We were there. We saw the grass. Some of the ladies tried to steal grass to take it home for their daddies. They're like, nah, I must take some grass. So that was cricket as an experience. And then made my first provincial side at under 17. And was Province under 17 captain, Province under 19 captain, played for 2 years in Western Province Academy.
Just for people that don't know, sorry, because I
Yes.
don't know. Did you bowl? Did you bat? Wicket keep?
So I pride myself on my bowling, but I'm a horrible bowler. Like, you know what you call a doubly doubler. So that means you can bowl, but you can't bowl. But because you not great, you will take a wicket. Like
Okay, so you spin
I was a batsman.
fast.
I was a batter.
Okay.
Yeah, I could hit a long ball as a batter, as a top order batter.
Okay.
Between 4 and 6 and T20s now.
Yeah.
That would have been my format if I'd grown up in. I
In-
played
in this era.
In this era, I played club cricket T20s. I played club cricket until like 29 at Saints.
Okay.
So we were in the top club league. I'm always proud of this. I captained the side from the second division to the first division, which was 1A, and then I got us relegated again. So I was very consistent with the promotion and the relegation, right? So no, a top order batsman. And then what happened was at SP was amazing. Also, so much grounding over there. So many people who played for Primrose, Montrose, St. Augustine's, United, Bluebells, lots of the local clubs in the area, Ottomans as well. And I was the first, I always tease about this, I was the first person at SP to score a century.
Sure.
Because we're not a cricket school per se, but
That's
we always
crazy.
had good sports people,
Yeah.
right? And
Was
the-
it Mr. Miller? He was
Mr.
the coach.
Miller, Mr. Miller. He said, you gave your wicket away, you a stupid boy, right? And then Rida Isaacs, Rida is amazing. He also played junior provincials.
Shout out
You know
Rida,
Rida,
yeah, for sure. He's my brother.
Yeah, he's your brother. He played for United Cricket Club, into UWs as well. And he scored a ton after that. So it was great seeing more cricketers.
Yeah.
And then the final stretch of my schooling career, I finished up at Wynberg Boys. I left SP in grade 11 in March. And then I went back a year when I went to Wynberg. So this was always the funny bit. I went to school a year early, right? So I would have matriculated at 17. And we were always trying to figure out, how do I matriculate at 18? Because what happened with the provincial teams, I was at high school, then I was 12, turning 13, and I couldn't make a junior provincial team because you had to be at primary school.
Yeah.
So it was always this, and my birthday's in January, so there was always this interesting overlay and gap. And then when the opportunity came to move to Wynberg Boys, my mom is like, we're putting you a year back. You'll matriculate at 18, but I also don't think you're mature enough to finish school at 17. Best decision they could have made.
Yeah.
People say I failed, but I said, no, I was kept behind. Right? So I had 1 more year, and then from there, 2 years in the Province Academy, captain the Province under 19 side in 07. Who were the guys that were playing for the Proteas that were in that side? Dane Patterson he's a Protea now. Then in the academy, Dane Peterson.
Did you ever
Dane Pitt, sorry.
Did you ever play with Rory Kleinveld?
I played against Rory, yeah.
Okay,
So I
cool.
played with Rory's cousin, Matthew Kleinveld.
Okay, cool.
So Matthew and I played junior provincials in school together. Matthew's playing provincially now, senior, and Rose is amazing.
Yeah.
Plumstead boy,
I come from a
amazing.
cricket family, so Rory's my cousin.
Is Rory your cousin?
Yeah, he's my cousin.
Nah, must come over for Brian.
And then you know Marco and
Yes,
Byron Weingart.
yes.
Also my cousins.
Yo.
So we cricket family through and through Victoria. Cricket
Bruh,
club.
Vic's through and
That's
through
our
the
family.
Wyngarts.
Oh, we-
Rest in peace to
To
Biden.
Byron,
man.
yeah.
shame, yeah.
we.
Biden was my under 19 Coke Week roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
crazy.
we were roomies, yeah. And
Oh, man.
we would always laugh and tease because I'd be up at like 5 in the morning just doing push-ups. He's like, "My bro, go sleep." I'm like, "I'm just waking up. I need to get the biceps going for the cricket match today, right?" Yeah, rest in peace, Puri. What a
Puri.
good human. And Vix, what a great cricket history there. JP Duminy, Rory Kleinveld, Shirley van Skalkwyk, Mulligan George, Ashwell Prince. The list is long, right? And then, 21 was still playing Province Academy, still playing club cricket, but then started stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
In my third year of studying, I was doing a BA Politics and History undergrad. And then, bah,
How?
my mommy said, "What are you going to do after school?" And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Why don't you teach?" I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "You're going to get a lot of holidays." It's like, "Really, Linda? This is how you're selling education to me?" No, mommy taught for like 35 years. So she's like, "No, you'll enjoy it. You work with the kids. There's a sports angle. It'll be great for you." She was also like, you were naughty and energetic. It'll be a good way for you to deal with those naughty and energetic kids, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm there for naughty and energetic children, as long as they're not rude.
Yeah.
Just be naughty and energetic. We'll figure out how to channel it, right? And then was on course to go study and finish education.
Yeah.
And the plan was to then go play cricket in the UK for a year. And you go to a club, you're the club pro, essentially. You're not necessarily a professional cricketer, but you're the club pro, right? So then you maybe get involved with the coaching as well, in the junior structures, etc., etc. But then started stand-up comedy in the same year, third year, 2010. And that was the game changer. Like, I did a 5-minute spot at Joker's Comedy Club above the Lincoln Tavern in Athlone. Melody Chevlaine gave me that spot, and best 5 minutes of my life. Completely changed everything. I went home that night. I was still staying at home. I was like, "I'm gonna be a comedian." I told mom I'm gonna be a comedian. They're like, "Study, go study." What are you talking about? We used to chill in the close. The cul-de-sac in the area I grew up in the retreat. And then that Friday, I told my brother, this is the thing. I'm gonna be a comedian.
Yeah.
Then obviously they don't take you seriously. Then I perform for them. They were all loving on the pavement. I'm like, here's my 5 minutes.
Sure.
And then the neighbor still shouted, "Hey, keep quiet." I was like, "Wait, man." And from there, a month later, I got my first gig. Yeah, then I was just, because Instagram wasn't a thing, so I was just Facebook and emails. "Hey there, stand-up comedy in Cape Town. I'm Dalin, I want to try stand-up. Do you have 5 minutes for me?" And then Melody gave me a spot. I invited all my friends. It was full. I was just inviting them because I was excited. But I wish I was more present in that moment.
Yeah.
Because you guys know it is with what we're doing now. We can never be present enough 10, 15 years ago to remember how the seed was planted.
For sure. Can you remember any jokes from then?
So
if I had to ask you.
I can remember some premises. The jokes weren't as funny as they grew into being.
Okay.
But the premises were, when I was writing, because I was studying for an exam and it was like 1 in the morning, and I was like, I'm bored of this, man. Let me write some jokes down. And it was observations. So it was going, the worlds I lived in, grew up in Retreat and went to school in Heathfield, Deep River, and then Wynberg. But sports, you crossing cultural and racial barriers all the time. So you in a diverse environment. So it was the observations. Are you white or colored? That was always the confusing thing. I've got a very prominent, I call it confident nose. It's not big, it's confident, right? So stereotypically, not me, people, they go, well, a lot of people think I'm Jewish. I'm outside of Cape Town. They'd be like, "Shalom." I'm like, "No, salute. Away. Hi. Good to see you." It's been ages from Retreat. It's on the flats. Hey, there we go.
Classic.
And then those were the isms. And then the one which I die inside when I speak about it, but it's that observation of, you look like the bra from the Fast and the Furious. Like,
Vin Diesel.
You look like Vin
Yo.
Diesel. Which at the start, I was like, that's my gag. And then I got older, I'm like, I die inside. So I always say now, I look like Vin Diesel that you ordered on Temu or on Wish, or the Vin Diesel who took the expired vaccine. Like, I'm all the side effects. This is the expired vaccine, but I'm sorry, it doesn't get better than this. So it was those observations. And I remember my first joke. We used to walk across Sesame Estate, and then now you're on the M5, and you by St. George Drive's intersection. If turn left, Grassy Park, straight over Steenberg, Lavendale, Musenberg, Rights Retreat, and Dices used to happen over there.
Yeah.
Legal street tracks, don't worry. And then we used to go watch, and then but also watch cautiously. If the police came, you would run. I remember one night the police vans just arrived and I ran home. I left all my bras. It's like, God, they got them. They're like, my bro, you swag. I'm like, I was looking out for you in case they arrested you. Then I would be the one to come bail you. I just ran. I was like panicking, right? And then what happened was, the joke was, oh yes, the joke was something along the lines of, I just heard this guy shouting, burn it. And then the cars were going, wah, pa, 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 pum. And then the bro kept shouting, burn it. And then the bro was going, wah, pa, 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 pum. They kept shouting, burn it. And then only did I realize later he wasn't shouting, burn it for the wah, pa, 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 pum. He was actually calling his friend Bernard, but they called him burn it where he grew up. It's a very colored culture, very slang joke, right? And then, yeah, that was burn it, the human being.
Oh, you nuts, bro.
Yeah, that's one of the first jokes I wrote. I love that burn it joke, bro. It's so boring. That's so boring. And then Bernard looked at him and his name was Marky. He's like, Marky. And then Marky said, and then Bernard said, Coach Sam, are you coming with? And then Marky said, and Marky Saki, which means it makes no, I don't know if I'm going with or not.
Doesn't matter, man.
Yeah, that was literally one of my first jokes in my first set. And the beauty is you commit to it, man.
Yeah.
You commit to it. And then you look back later in your career, it's 14 years. I'm like, it was such surface level jokes, but it's fine.
It's necessary.
It's necessary.
It's a starting point.
You need the starting point. It's so important because you don't know the route.
Yeah.
No.
There's no map.
No.
Yeah.
You don't know what the path is. So I always
Yeah.
tell my friends who are professionals, I'm like, if you're an educator, if you're a lawyer, accountant, a tradesman, a doctor, whatever, your path is do this, do that. You qualify, you get papers. If you want to improve yourself, you do this, you do that.
Yeah.
With us, the only university is getting onto stage and time behind the microphone and playing in as many places and spaces
Yeah.
as possible in your own city, outside of your own city. If you have the privilege to travel outside of Cape Town, if you're from here, go tell jokes in other cities
Yeah.
because our slangisms don't go down on the other side.
Yeah.
So then you have to navigate that. But you only learn that later on in your career. But very quickly also at the start, if you're performing in retreat or Grassy Park or Mitchell's Plain, and now you must go perform in OBS, or you're going to town where it's a very studenty / international
Feel. Look.
look
Person.
Now that slang has to be navigated. And you can only learn that by being on
Yes.
stage, which is good because you must die.
Yeah.
Death is important for growth.
For sure. I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
Going to schools. It's different, but it's similar. Is that when we go to school, I could be speaking to a 7, 8, and 9-year-old.
Yes.
And I have to say the same thing but simplified.
Yes.
Then I go to a high school and I got to switch it up because I got to connect with my audience. And it only came through being in the deep waters.
Through and through. That's
It's
the only way you learn.
No other way.
You learn when there's silence.
Yeah.
When you,
And you're like, what do I say
what
next?
do I say now?
Yeah.
And then when you're younger, you speak faster. But when you're older, you learn to pause.
It's like years.
And you know the gears, but you only learn the gears with experience. And what a beautiful journey! Because if you learn the gears at the start, you're gonna you're gonna
No
overheat.
enjoyment, yeah.
Yeah, the car's gonna overheat.
But here's the thing, and I think a lot of people watching this can relate to this. How many people don't start?
Yeah, and that's
They've got a list of dreams and goals, and
Do
they
it.
don't start out of fear, or they don't start because they don't know what it's going to look like.
yes, just do it, man. Do it. Throw yourself into the deep end. You must always feel like you're drowning. Drowning is good. Like growing up, that uncle who threw you or your cousin into the pool and said swim. You couldn't swim, and then you learn how to swim. Sometimes they threw a pop sack and said float, and then you float on the empty pop sack. But you're going, hey, this is how you're learning to swim, and then eventually you learn how to swim. So from a stand-up comedy and radio perspective, because comedy is 14 years now and radio is 12,
Yeah.
the starting points for radio were campus DJ search. Good FM had a campus DJ search, and they were going to different campuses, and they were there over 2 days. And I remember Shauna was still with Good Hope at the time, and she saw me the second day. He's like, why don't you do it? I'm like, nah, man, I'm just enjoying everyone laughing. Because you know how it is.
Yeah.
South Africans are the best. We like people to fail publicly.
Yeah.
We want to laugh at you, man.
True,
Yo,
yeah.
your bra's entering. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible. Just look here. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, he's horrible. Lekker. Who's the next one, right? So that was us in the lunch area. And then the next day, entered it, just did it. And that was the seed that was planted for 12 years of broadcasting, because at the time I won the UCT leg but then didn't win overall, and that was in 2010. in like April. And then I started comedy in November of 2010. So 2010 is like an important year for the start. But then 2 years later, 2012, I contact the station to go, hey, I'm in broadcasting, or I'm a comedian. I have a sports background. I'm finishing up in education. We did Good Hope FM Laugh Master, which is a comedy competition as well as and as a finalist there, as well as the campus search. How do you get into radio? No one tells you.
Yeah.
Emailed the station manager and program manager, still Natano, Brachi and Gerard Muller at the time. I was like, I don't know how to get involved. Can I contact you? They're like, cool, come do some shadowing. And then eventually that led to an opening and a freelance gig, eventually into lunchtime and for 2 years, and then breakfast for 8 years, right? And the bigger picture of that was, it was a starting point of going, just ask.
Yeah.
Email people and ask. DM them and ask. Like,
And be okay with no's.
be okay with no's. I am so fine with a no.
Yeah.
I'm there for a no. I'm just not there for a no response. So if you don't respond, I will phone and go, hi, Dalin, yeah.
Sounds like me.
Is that you?
That sounds like me.
Yeah.
I will phone you.
I will phone you.
And again and again and again.
And there's nothing wrong with it
Yeah.
because you're pushing sincerity
Yeah.
and hard work and what you love. So if people say no, I go, that's completely okay.
Cool.
I just needed to know that it's a no
Yes.
and that you got the mail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like, is it in the internet? Has the mail disappeared?
Yeah.
Maybe they forgot to reply.
Yeah.
So no's are okay. No's are just going to build character. And South Africa knows or never knows because we figure out how to make them yeses if it's in a year's time, in 5 years' time.
So true.
In 10 years' time,
So
we'll
true. I love that.
Yeah.
Give him the trumpet, Sebut.
Pew, 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 pew. We'll
that.
cross paths again. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And it will happen at the right time.
It comes back, yeah.
When you're ready.
Yes.
I look at a lot of things that happen in my career where at the start, because you're 20s, you're so young, you're just chasing.
Yeah.
So for you, it's about chasing. You want results. It's about titles. It's about accolades. It's about shiny things. And then you don't get something and you're disappointed.
Yeah.
And then you look back at it now with perspective. And now if you don't get something, you're like, it's fine. It's not for me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will happen when it needs to happen. But that maturity can only happen by going through those avenues and those isms that will allow you to find peace. And I think once you know your why, that's the game changer. So we live in a generation where there's lots of accessibility, which is great. But know what you want from all this accessibility. So I'm always a comedian first. So whether I'm working in radio or TV or online or whatever platform, I'm a comedian in that space.
Yeah.
So I always knew I want to be a comedian. So it was never going, I want to wear 10 hats first. I want to be a master of this. And then if people enjoy what I do here, the other spaces will open up. And if the other spaces don't open up, it's fine. As long as I know I'm mastering my craft
For sure.
on stage. And I never know when I'll master it because I feel like I'm only finding my comedy voice now. But that's okay because slow and steady, we all want to
But
do
that's
this
the
thing
problem,
at our own
though.
pace.
We don't want slow and steady. I mean, let me talk for myself. In the beginning, I started, but I got frustrated with the slowness of how things were moving.
Yes.
And I had to, a lot of the times, actually pull myself back because the frustration was becoming a distraction. It was actually draining me. I was
Yes.
almost like wanting to quit because I was getting peed off.
Yes.
And that's what happens. A lot of people do quit because the speed at which the start is going, they're not happy with. They want to start and they want to be successful like this.
Yeah. And that can't happen because you need the experience to allow for the maturity and growth to happen. I just had an amazing year of going into the deep end. Because I'm an independent artist, so we make contact with the venues and we set up everything. When I say we, I speak about myself and the voices in my head. Right? but we're South African.
Inside me too.
Yeah, we're South African. We just have the self-belief that we can get access to it, even if it's ridiculously far from
I love
us.
that. Yeah.
We will take from the Springboks, take from Tyler, take from Trickers, take from Black Coffee, Trevor Noah, Charlie Theron. The list goes on.
Yes.
Where we go. Same country. They understand the WhatsApp group. They understand the assignment. Sorry, that happens in my 30s. I'm getting old now, right? If they can do it, we can figure it out, right? So then throwing yourself into the deep end and going, okay, through this year of traveling and performing in 7 countries and 18 cities, I now have the confidence to be able to perform to an international audience and do 30, 20, 10-minute set with no South Africans. If there's South Africans, we know what material to do. And the toughest part is we can't learn that here
Yeah.
because we're so far from the world in terms of distance, but also in terms of language and ism. South Africa, we beat our own drum over here, and it's a beautiful drum.
Yeah.
And it's a drum that we celebrate. So when we're here, we want to speak about our isms and our culture and our politics and everyday life.
That's very much what you do, though. Like, I came to watch your show, and man, I didn't watch a show that great in a long time. Entertainment-wise, bro, like, your act is extremely polished, and through your conversation now, you were saying it took you a while to feel like now you know yourself, you know your voice, you know what your act's about, and it comes through. And what I've picked up about your act as a comedian, everybody has their thing. They have the approach, you know? Like,
Yes.
And for me, you celebrate South African culture in
Yes.
the best way. That's
That-
dope. Because you
that's-
teach people and you incorporated the internationals, the foreigners in the show
Thank
as
you.
well. And then there were also in South Africa, there's so much diversity. It's also tough because now there's so many different
lot.
people in one audience.
Yeah.
But yet you could accommodate every person in the audience and get a laugh out of everyone. So whether
Thank you.
it was maybe a joke about somebody
Yes,
they're
yes.
laughing with because they can relate,
Yes.
you know. So it
Yeah.
was that celebration of South African culture that we really enjoy, bro.
Thank you. And that's been so important for me. So the backstory is post-COVID, I went, how do I figure this thing out where
Yeah.
I can learn to write more for the world,
Yes.
right? And then I went, okay, we need to find our voice, because I genuinely feel like I found my voice during COVID. It was a tough time for everybody, but as an artist, you had a lot of time to reflect and go, what's the way forward, right? And in terms of stand-up, sorry, my apologies. In terms of stand-up comedy, so the growth was, my first two shows were very colored culture, colored identity driven, about growing up in retreat, experiencing two worlds of South Peninsula and Wynberg boys, and then doing my practice teaching at both of those schools and speaking about that. If it's isms like tok toki, which is ding dong ditch or knock door run for internationals. It's knock knocky if you're from English school.
Knock knocky.
intercommie, right? Speaking about those isms, you know what I mean? The 50 cents chips we would eat. The cracker snack that stained our fingers,
Yeah.
and then you don't touch
soap
it.
sweets.
Yeah, the soap sweets. You know, then you drink the chips, you don't eat. So those were good isms.
Yeah.
But as an artist and as a performer, those are important growth stages in your life that you have to speak about, because that informs your identity and your immediate state, right? And then once that happened, my third show was called Adulting. Then I was speaking about turning 30, and now the world's expecting me to have my stuff together. My friends who have real jobs are like, are you looking after your life? Do you have a RA? I remember they asked me, do you have a RA, retirement annuity? I'm like, no. I messed with them. I'm like, I don't have a RA. I got a VW. I'm a child. I'm a child. Don't ask me about my stuff, man. I'm figuring out how to be an artist here, right? So then you realize, okay, your voice is now changing with your age and with your growth and with your experience. And then when COVID happened, I'm like, okay, I feel confident enough to be able to push the envelope outside of our borders.
Yeah.
Because the cultural isms don't fly overseas. The South African isms don't fly overseas. If you do, you have to explain it. But if you're in a club comedy setup, you don't have all the time to explain it. If it's my hour show, and then I give them a window into South Africa and the cultural isms, like with the show. But across festivals, across clubs, across your own shows, now you're learning how to play in all those spaces. And then going, okay, I can be based here, but people of the world understand me. Because sometimes we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. Like even when we have international audiences, we're going, we speak fast.
Yeah.
We speak fast and we speak flat. So they just computing everything in their minds live. And then you learn, oh, I have to speak slower.
Yeah.
If I approach these topics, I have to have a certain charm about it. I can't just go straight into it. We're very physical. We want connection as South Africans. Maybe the rest of the world doesn't function like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their laugh rhythm is also different to us. Here, we big laughers, we belly laughers, we invite strangers to laugh with us, where we're hitting them, right? The laughs I experienced in the clubs, if it was Australia, the UK, or Europe, it was ha 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 ha. So it's punchline, it's laughter, it's set up punchline. So now you're adapting to the different comedy rhythms of different countries.
It's technical, eh?
It's technical, and as a comedian, you're just going, I'm backstroke.
No wonder you studied
doggy.
maths, eh?
Yeah, but I failed first year maths for 3 years. That gave me the legs. That gave me the self-belief. I split my because you do MAM 1000 at university, which is pure maths, pure. So I split it over 2 years, 105 and 106. If you do that, you more than qualified to teach high school maths up until matric, right? But then I failed it the first year and then passed the bridging course and the bridging course. And the funniest thing was when you're in a maths exam, you can't not, you know, you can still fake it with history or lie a bit in geography. With maths, you just look at the paper and go, nah, I don't know where pi is. This pi is in the garage. I don't know. This is not going to work. But luckily I passed. Yeah. But bigger picture, you only figure out the things by being in the space.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to be in the room to be able to figure it out and grow.
Yeah. But I mean, talking about growth, since you set out on this journey, there must have been some dark moments. And what does that sort of look like? And how did you get through that?
Dark moments with comedy, a beautiful death. Oh, you know, we speak about death, right? It's such a on stage. And when we say death, that means no one's laughing. For comics, that's good growth because you learn. But it's initially dark moments because in order to write more material, you have to try it out. So you go to comedy clubs and now you try it out. You don't know if it's funny, right? You just going, these are the ideas I have in my head and I'm going to do it. And then you do it and then those moments happen where they not there with you. It's the silence. Like this happens. And I remember the first gig and the worst gig that I had was at Sergeant Pepper's in Long Street. And the audience wasn't there for comedy. They were there for food. It's internationals as well and some locals. So every comic has like a savior complex. Like, if the Bharat before dies, I'm going to go be funny. Because mentally you have to be in the zone, right? And then Bharat before me died. Then I was like, I'm going to be funny. Went on, did my opening bits. And I wasn't in comedy for long, about 3-4 years. They didn't laugh. Did a few jokes that work. They didn't laugh. And then I went, who's here for burgers? Make some noise. Woo! They all clapped. I'm like, who's here for stand-up comedy? No one clapped. I'm like, okay, if you guys want me to leave, I'll leave the stage. If you want me to leave, make some noise. They were like, woo! Then I walked off stage. I heckled myself off stage. I'm like, Dalin, what just happened here? It was like the worst, toughest 5 minutes of my life because of inexperience, just knowing that you're dying on stage and you're not navigating the space where you got to push through, soldier through the material, get it out, hear it, record it, and then figure it out from there. I drove home sad. I was still driving my first car, the family car, Mazda 323. Shout out to the Mazda. It's called the 323. It only worked 12 hours a day. It's from 3 to 3, right? The other 12 you lived in faith. That Cosima switched off whenever. I had two 6x9s and a 12-inch sub. My amp. I had loud music to block out all the sounds. And then it was still, when I die, I drive home and listen to love songs. I listen to Boys to Men. I'm like, I'm sad. I could have been a teacher. Now I'm dying on stage as a comedian. But those are good moments because then you learn how to deal with the death and learn that dying is part of the growth. And then going, cricket and comedy go hand in hand. All the lessons I learned in cricket directly apply to my comedy life. Because in cricket, you train, you have discipline. In sport, you train, you discipline. You're a dancer, you train, you discipline. In public speaking, you train, you discipline. That teaches you to wake up at a certain time. It teaches you to arrive, to go hit balls in the nets. Doesn't matter how many balls you hit, you're not necessarily going to score 100. So it doesn't matter how many jokes you're writing off stage. It doesn't mean it's going to be funny on stage. And then just going, if you can apply this discipline to your comedy, growth will happen by virtue of you putting in time to your craft and not just off stage, on stage. That's the only thing. And then the toughest part is now you have to learn the business acumen of things because nobody teaches you in South Africa. You are the artist, the manager, you the cleaner, you're the tea person, the marketer, the driver, the everything. So now you just adding all these bits of armor to your skill set. And at the start you feel like you're drowning, but then later on you go, okay, I've actually grown in so many spaces of life. And when you start working with brands or with companies or with people, you now have some business people acumen and you a bit savvy, which is great. Because you can't be taught that. You have to learn that. So the dark moments for me is always going, if you don't try this or you don't do this, you're going to be in the same space as you were this time last year. And for me, I always want to reflect and go, what were you doing this time last year? Are you in a better space?
That's good.
Mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically, career-wise, but having those sincere moments.
Introspection is so
important. Introspection, so important. Just going, am I out of my comfort zone? If I'm comfortable, I stress. Even when I used to work in radio, I wouldn't drive the same route for 5 days. I somehow go different routes because I'm like, no, now it feels the same.
Yeah.
I can't drive the same route. I need something different to make sure my brain is stimulated. So
Sure.
out of the comfort zone is important.
That's very interesting. And then what would you say is your darkest fear? What's your
My
greatest
biggest fear?
Biggest fear.
Oh, now that I'm married, it changes. Because when you're single and you're chasing, it's different.
Yeah.
Then everything's like career based. And you're like, oh, if this doesn't happen, if that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Now that I got married, it's gone to my wife's my first
Yeah.
priority. So biggest fear is if we don't grow and find the love and the spaces that we want as a married couple.
Yeah.
And then we want kids one day, then the biggest fear is with the kids involved and the external family. And with that fear, I go, what's happiness? So for some people, it's finances. Everyone has a different definition. But long term, for me, that fear would be fueling the happiness, which is rooted in family.
Yeah.
And
Got
I
you.
think for everybody, the dream is at 60, when we look back at this thing, to be surrounded with our family and our loved ones and go, hey, the bank never came to repossess anything. No? We did all right. We managed to send you to school. We managed to give you all the opportunities and access and more compared to what
True,
our
eh?
parents gave us.
100%.
Because I genuinely think, as this generation with so much more access and opportunities than our parents and grandparents, etc., we have to do our best to give them more than we had.
Yeah.
And this isn't a financial thing of give them more money. It's just give them more access and give them more chances to dream.
Yeah.
And whatever you want to do, you can go do that.
Yeah.
Go figure it out. The world is your playground now.
Yeah.
COVID showed us how tough life can be, but also how small and connected the world is.
Yeah.
So the biggest fear is definitely not nurturing that
For sure.
family space
100%.
and the long-term vision that we have.
I actually read something amazing 2 days ago. The person said, you need to look at your dreams as a little child. When you do that, you nurture it, you look after it, you protect it, you encourage it to grow, you care for it. And when you do that for your dreams, one day your dreams will take care of you.
Wow.
Sure.
I'm there for that.
That's powerful.
'Cause that-
Financially,
Everything.
all that stuff. So if you look after the dream
Yes.
in the beginning, eventually the dream looks after you.
Because that's the time. When we start, we as creatives, it always blows my mind because we see something that isn't even there yet,
Yeah.
For sure.
which is the scariest thing in the world.
And nobody else can see it.
And no one else can see it.
That's
And
a
you
tough
know this.
job.
When you, like, bless my parents, I love them. They've always supported me. But I remember the first time, my dad is retired. They retired now, electrician and teacher.
Yeah.
So when I said I'm be a comedian, like, cool, we'll support you. Then I went to the arts festival. It's now Makanda, but then Grahamstown.
Yeah.
And then I remember I had money saved up. I was coaching cricket. I was busy. I had a short teaching stint. I was waitering. I was hustling to work to make sure that I don't leech with my parents because I'm still staying at home. And then when, okay, I've got this money saved up. I'm going to go to the arts festival. And then my daddy was like, but why don't you invest it? Why don't you put it away?
Yeah.
And then the money can grow into something long term.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, but this money must go into the show now, into travel, into accommodation, into registration, into marketing, into posters. He's like, but will there be a return? I'm going, it's not about the financial return now.
Yeah.
It's just about being in the space
Yeah.
and me being there.
Yeah.
And then I was like, remember how you just supported me with cricket? I was like, I need a new bat. And then I remember, because initially you don't just go buy expensive bats. We would
Yeah.
always go to low-cost bats, right? And then when he bought me my first bat, we went to go buy me at one of these top retailers. I'm like, "Hey, bro, this is a lot of money. Why are you buying this?" And then he's like, because you're working hard and I can see that you want this thing. I'm like, that's just the type of, you must just say yes, even if you don't understand.
Yeah.
And then both of them were like, away. Same with my sisters and the family, and now with my wife and her family. She comes from a musical family. So she grew up with that thing of going, if you see it, go chase it. We'll figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And the reason I mention this is because that support system is so cruel. I'm so blessed and fortunate to have a supportive core from my parents to my sisters to my friends to now my in-laws and my wife. Like with my mommy, them when I was starting and did my first run at the Baxter, I won't forget. With I came, I thought I left and Face for Radio. That's my first 2 shows.
Yeah.
They were there helping me, selling DVDs, greeting
That's it.
people at the door,
I love it.
part of the welcoming committee.
Bro.
It's the only way to do it, eh?
They were there. They were part of the vibe. And I always told them, if you see someone you like, just don't take selfies. And then each time my daddy's like, yeah, but I took one with Mark Lottering already. I really like him, man, Dalin. Shout out. He's from Retreat also now. 7945. Give me a horn, please.
Oh,
Bam, bam,
yeah.
bam, bam, bam. So yeah, that support system, you don't realize long term how lucky you are if you grew up with that, and cherish that.
Yeah.
And cherish the people who are in your corner, man.
I really agree with you though, bro. Like I feel like more people should support each other's dreams and
Through and through.
like it's like you wait for that person to win. Now you want to be a part of
Yes.
it. Now
Yes.
that person's your cousin
Yeah,
or your,
yeah.
all of a sudden. It's like that's ridiculous.
We
bro.
all related to Wade van Niekerk. When he broke that world record. Penny's
In
my
some ways.
cousin. Trickers, I know him through a third. I know them. And we must stop doing that. Even with, as South Africans, we must just share more information.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart speaks about it nicely. Where information is free.
Yeah.
So for me as a comedian, if another comedian needs information, I'm like, ask. If it's local stuff, if it's places I've traveled to with comedy, if it's comedians, I might ask. I will do my best to give you as much information as possible
Yeah.
so that you don't have to send 10 emails to get a reply.
100%.
Because if we build it and build it to a space where the door's being broken down, more South Africans win.
There we
Because
go.
then they go, no, that South African artist, that South African business person, they are worth their salt.
Yeah.
Open the door for more South Africans globally and locally. And I think it's so important for us to change the narrative of trying to pull each other down when someone is climbing the ladder.
No, for sure.
There's enough for everybody and there's enough space.
Yeah.
And everyone's road is different.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean because I'm a comedian, you're going to go there and take my spot.
Yeah.
No, you're just going to shine and that's going to be great. And then from there, you'll continue to navigate your road. So very, very important. Just keep opening the door. And as cliche as it sounds, keep making the circle bigger.
Yeah.
It's so important because if one wins, everybody wins.
Yeah.
It's a team sport. And again, I'll use cricket as an analogy. I think sports is a great thing for any person to play.
Yeah.
Whatever level. It teaches you discipline and it teaches you that it's not always your season.
Yeah.
So if your friend is successful in the team and you are not, you still celebrate their success.
That's it.
Yeah.
But we're all training and working hard
Yeah.
for a similar goal. And
see
then, you know what I
Wow.
mean? And then when it's your season, they will celebrate with you because you never want to have your season and then your tribe doesn't celebrate with you
Yeah.
because of the nastiness that you showed towards them
Yeah.
over the years. So nothing but love and open the doors all the time.
100%, bro. Every person that has become a world champion or achieved great success at one point in their life was watching somebody else achieve it first,
Yeah.
and that's where they were inspired.
That's true, eh?
So just like you're saying, bro,
Dude.
you go from being the supporter to being supported.
Yes.
At the end of, and understanding the balance of the two is
Yes.
actually what prepares you more for the moment when you get there. Because what if you've never seen a world champion in
Yeah.
your life? You don't know how
Yes.
to act. You don't know what to do.
Yes.
You know, you just as starstruck yourself. You're like,
Yeah.
what do I do with this thing? But if you understand what it is to support, to show love, to give credit,
Yes.
give flowers, you know, where people deserve
It's
their flowers.
important.
Then when it comes your way, you handle it a lot better.
Yes.
And then also being in that position, I feel like you understand the responsibility you have to the next person that's now watching you and being inspired as
yes. And in that same breath, like again, I never think the Springboks are cliche, but taking a note from them, this is world champions, number one in the world at the moment, back to back, 4-time champions. But we have access to them as South Africans. We have people who never in their wildest dreams thought they would meet Eben Etzebeth, Siya Kolisi, Cheslin Colby.
Yeah.
But as South Africans, if you see them in the mall, if you see them at the trophy tour, they will hug you, they will embrace you, they will take a photo of you. So not only them, but people in our industries, if the people who knock down doors and open doors and spaces for us to do this,
Yeah.
if they are humble with their feet on the ground, I have no business to try to be any bit of arrogant or cocky because my heroes and the people who I watched growing up and the people whose journey I still follow now are so sincere. We can only take good notes from that. And South Africans will put you in your place.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
will.
sure.
you can't be quiet.
Honest, yeah.
Nah, we
people
see you
are
in the
too-
mall tomorrow.
Yeah.
We look at you, say, "Hey, why is it dick bigger?" You walk straight past
Just
you.
take out the phone.
Uh,
They're
yeah.
not even asking.
You
You
think
take
you're
a
quiet.
picture.
Yeah. They just take out the photo.
You must want to be
You
famous.
must want to be
You owe
famous.
me a
Come
picture,
smile.
come
Yeah,
here.
come stand. And even on that, because a lot of people ask, "What do you want out of this thing?" I want to find happiness.
Yeah.
Because I think that if you keep chasing, I don't think you
No.
ever find.
Yeah, it's an empty promise.
It's an empty. Well said.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I got long words. You short and tight. Like you understand the assignment. It's an empty promise. And if you can find happiness,
Yeah.
like you said, that quote about the dreams looking after you, everything will fall into place at the right time.
Yeah.
When you are ready for the moment and the stage. Because when you're there, you must deliver.
Definitely.
You can't not deliver because the standard is there now.
Bro, and that's why it takes me back to what I was saying earlier on, where we need the people around us to support us because
Yes.
it's heavily competitive. You know, now
Ridiculous.
it's anyone's game now.
Yeah.
And it's already so hard to do it by yourself. Like you said, you must be the manager, the marketer, all
Everything.
You have to be all these things. You're learning about it. Now you don't still need other people to be putting you down or,
No.
or laughing at your dreams. Or it means the world to us. You know,
Yes.
it fuels you when someone you
Yes.
know close to you says, "Yo, bro, you're getting better. I can see you."
Yo,
Bro,
best-
the
It's everything.
best
That's
thing ever,
everything.
man.
go off.
It's
brother.
everything.
Crazy.
It's like that first time I saw you, 2012, when you were speaking to kids at Nominential, and I'm like, this bra's amazing. But
Thanks, I
then
appreciate that, bro.
yeah, then I saw you guys when you were doing the school tour. Good Hope was at one of the broadcasts.
Yes.
We're still partners.
Yes.
I think at the time when we just played, I'm like, it's only getting better.
Yeah.
It's only getting better. And for me, as a human, when I see people growing in their craft, I'm like, that's amazing because we know how much it means to create and grow in that season. Because the toughest part for me is when social media trolls come, and now I'm fine with it, where they go, but you're not funny. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't mind if I'm not funny to you. That's okay.
To you.
Yeah, to you, but that's okay. But do you know, for any artist, for any person who has a career, who has a job, mentally and emotionally, to tell someone you're not good at your job, it's not a nice thing, first of,
course,
all.
yeah. No one will
and
like
you
it.
wouldn't tell me that in person,
No.
right? But also as...
They'd most likely ask you for tickets.
Yeah, 100%. And I've started replying to people just with the love.
Yeah.
Just with the love. And then I invite them to a show. I'm going to kill you with kindness because my art means so much to me.
Yeah.
And I want you to be part of this journey. And if you don't find me funny, I'm okay with it. Because comedy is subjective.
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to like you. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's life.
That's
but
life.
be a lekker person
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
That's true.
Don't what's the right word? Don't let your negative energy be verbalized.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can just
Yeah.
keep it in and go, that's okay.
Yeah. And
I
those,
don't need to say that.
those internet trolls. That's
Yeah, it's
often,
wild.
often
We
that's
must
a
start knocking
setup.
on their doors and going to their houses. I'm there for that.
Bro,
Do like a
that's how we
TV
grew
show.
up, no? That's how we grew up. If you mess with somebody,
Yeah.
you must deal with
You
it.
must
bro.
deal with
Yeah.
it now.
They're
Then there's
waiting for
kids
you
outside
after
my house.
school.
Yeah.
Now I'm running from the corner. Ian,
Yeah.
we're going to Cavendish on a Tuesday.
Now I realize on the internet, that's all just a setup, you know?
Yes.
That negative seed that's planted. If
Yes.
you reply, you're watering that, you know?
Yes.
But let's be honest, that's going to disappear. No one's going to notice
Quickly.
it in a few hours or so, or a
And
few
you,
days.
you don't know that when you start, but
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
speak to somebody and then they go, brother, in a week or two's time, no one's going to remember.
Yeah.
For the moment, it feels like the worst possible thing that they said, but it's going to blow over and you're going to be okay. And you control what you say and what you put out. So I'm not being like cliche, just be a nice person.
Yeah, for sure.
Because South Africa is so small.
Sure.
Our industries, our country is small, but it's big. So if you're in our worlds, we know people all over and we're all going to work in the same
sure.
spaces.
Yeah.
And when I see you, and we're like, guys, what's up? You're right. Can we grab a coffee sometime?
Yeah.
Can we go for a lunch?
Yeah.
Not a Cape Town coffee, we're saying off air, where we don't see each other, but a sincere moment of interaction because that can move the needle for you.
Yeah.
Watching something and speaking about moving the needle, a lot of the times you have this MO of this is the blueprint that I'm going to follow.
Yeah.
But then you can meet one person who will show up for you and open a door that you would never have thought would be open. And all of us have those stories
Yeah.
where you go home and go, you didn't have to do that introduction. You didn't have to say yes. You didn't have to be in my corner, but you were. Just because there was this moment and you're like, cool, I see you. And then you go, you need to do the same thing. So when there's new artists or people in radio, and I mention that because of the industry that I was in, I go, send me your number, send me your email. I will intro you to the people.
Yeah.
Go bother them.
Yeah.
Be lastig, so go to the stations.
Lekker.
So come to the comedy gigs. You ask all the comics, all the people. And a lot of the time, the art wants you in the room.
Yeah.
Yes.
People want you to be involved because that's growth for the art.
Yeah.
And it means it's more long term. So just be as persistent as possible and be fearlessly persistent.
That's important, hey? That's very
Fearlessly
important.
persistent and consistent and hold
Go
a high
for it,
standard
yeah.
for yourself.
100%.
Have gig with purpose. That's what I would always tell myself. Gig with purpose. Don't just go to a gig and I'm doing 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What are you working on tonight? So a small thing. I'd go to a gig and then I go, okay, tonight I'm working on performing with the mic stand as a prop.
Yeah.
So usually I just have no mic stand and just have the microphone here at the stand-up comedy gig. Then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to put the mic in the middle and use my 2 hands now and see if I can, something like an orchestra,
Yeah.
and see how I can guide the room. And whether they go with me or not, I go, okay, at least I know I'm working on a type of technique that I
Yeah.
want to use
Yes.
with new jokes and isms. Because then you go home and go, okay, this moves the needle for what?
But you put yourself in that situation again.
Yes.
That uncomfortable situation. Just coming back to
Yes.
something is that when you were talking now, it's something that popped in my head, and I think everyone watching this needs to take this to heart because it's something that helped me. Because I always used to take people's words to heart. And then I got to a place where I realized that that's an opinion, but if I water it, I make it a truth. There's a difference.
Yes.
So when someone says something to me, if I'm going to put water on that, I'm turning their opinion into a truth, but it doesn't have to be.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be.
Yes.
It's their opinion. It's not valid. But I
Yeah.
go along and I play into it and I make it valid and it gets stuck in my head. And it's not paying rent.
100%. And yeah, you were saying,
No,
like,
it's crazy that they say it, but you give it life. That's
Yeah.
what I wanted to say. It's
through
crazy.
and through.
Yeah,
through,
only you can give it life.
through and through. And because we are precious about our art. And post-COVID, I've learned to be less precious. When I say less precious, I'm going to post more stand-up comedy reels. Because the world's moved in that direction.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
be less precious. Put it out there. Move with the world's needle and South Africa's needle. But
Sure.
make sure we're not catching up. We don't want to play catch-up. So how do we be on par with the standard here and the standard globally and figure things out
Yeah.
by being less precious? So put out that material. It's fine. It's only going to be a good reference point for people if they see you a comedian. But mentally, I don't think people are aware how artists or creatives are in their head. Because I would have moments before the show where, or with material, going, every gig, I'm stressed, I'm going to die. I only think of the worst outcome.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think of. I never think of the best outcome
Yeah.
ever, which I'm trying to do better at by going, and I don't even want to say it's going to be okay because that's still negative wording, right? And because I go, they're not going to laugh at this, they're not going to that, they're not going to that. Then before I go, I just have a moment of peace and I breathe and I go there. But then if someone says something negative and you water it, brother, if it's a word or something, I will fumble it. Because I'm like, that gag was in my head and that's the comment that they made. And now I'm not present in the
You're
moment.
distracted.
Now you're distracted.
You're off, yeah.
And when you work in an industry that's live, real time,
Sure.
you need to be present.
Sure. More than
You
anything.
need to be present. If I ask you what's your name, I need to remember your name. And if I come back to you, I have one grace maybe. But if I ask you your name 30 minutes later for the third time, now the audience is like, but now where are you?
Yeah.
You're not, he told us your name. You're taking 30 seconds away from us that we can never get back. So that being present thing is so important because people see the sincerity in that. And then even connecting with him afterwards. For me, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
Especially with South Africa because people are so open to want to say hi.
Yeah.
If they don't support us, we don't have a career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's mind-blowing for me. Because even when we started, I'm sure as the three of us sit here, we didn't know that what we do, we're going to be doing full-time for the rest of our lives.
For
That was the
sure.
goal. We wanted
was the
that,
goal.
but there was uncertainty.
Yes, that was the goal. You're like, I always wanted it, but yeah.
Yeah. But we definitely didn't know.
No.
We didn't know
No.
for sure.
No.
Because we were scared. We were
Scared.
bang,
We were
bro.
bang.
But we were trying our best. Like you say, we were hopeful. We were pushing forward and so
Yes.
on. And I like that you make it about the people. Because at your show afterwards, just the room, the energy in the room. Normally after a show, you say, I'll stick around, you can ask some questions, whatever. And because it's a performance, everybody leaves. Because they just came
Yes.
for the performance. But everybody came down. And everyone was waiting
Everyone
their turn
stayed outside.
to
eh?
chat to you
Yeah.
and to take a picture.
That's
and
cool, eh?
because of how comfortable we were in that room and how intimate the show was. The show
Yes.
was very intimate. That's what made it lekker. It wasn't a, You, Kevin Artemi, use his name on stage. We come here, we support you, we laugh, liquor, we go
Yes.
home. It was more like I'm a person that celebrates culture, but I'm also for the culture. I'm part of
Yes,
the culture,
yes.
which is liquor.
And I think as South Africans, that's important because we like connecting.
Yeah.
Yes.
South Africans want to have a moment with you so that when we see you again, we're like, hey, remember?
Yeah.
But also for me, looking back through my career, I'm so grateful for these audiences because, like you say, we were hopeful, but we never knew this thing's going to work.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And then you do one thing and people support you, like, okay, this is interesting. You do another thing, they support. Now you go flip. Now I have to show up as well.
Yeah.
I have to be funny, but they're supporting. And then through the years, I have people coming to me. We saw you when you were doing this gig in 2012, in 2010. And I go, that warms my heart so much because you have so many options as a consumer, as
Yeah.
a possible patron. You have every online streaming platform is live.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever city you're in, there's things that's happening. But you chose to come out to a show, spend your hard-earned money that you worked for. And then if you have kids, you got a babysitter, you dressed up, it's a date night, you got the family or the friend. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You told your people a week before, hey, next week this is happening. So for me to come there and see that, my heart is so full because
Amazing,
I'm
bro.
like, you've showed up
Well
for
done.
me on and off stage.
Yeah.
And if I and my wife's been great with this because when you don't have a partner, you can have these conversations with people if you're in the mall or if at the sports game, etc., etc. But now she understands, and she always has. When I meet people, I genuinely take a minute or two to chat to them.
Yeah.
They're like, "Can we have a photo?" I'm like, "What's your name? How are you? Where you from?" Shot lekker.
Yeah.
If I remember, I'll try to remember. It's very difficult, but I try to have a moment and go, "Thank you for your time."
Yeah.
Have a lekker festive.
Intentional.
Have a lekker festive
Yeah,
season.
I
Is this
like
the
that.
lighty? What grade? What school? Quite. Shot. High five. Happiness. Not just a high bye. Because I understand that without the audience, this thing that I love so much can't happen.
Yeah.
Can't
what's-
happen.
You know what's big in that moment also? If someone walks up to you and they ask for a picture, right? And you just take the picture and they leave.
Yes.
Then they show their friends afterwards and they're like, so how was it
How
to
was
meet
it?"
Dalin?
Yes, yes.
And then they're like, it was cool. Like, we just
Yes.
took the picture and
They left.
what really happened in that
Yeah.
moment?
You-
Nothing. But that conversation.
It's so important. And
Bro.
South Africans are comfortable. No? I've had people rub my boop. They're like, "Yeah, you get like a tuck." No? I'm like, "Why are you
Lekker.
touching my tummy here?"
But that's only in South Africa,
Only
eh?
in South Africa
Yeah.
do we
Only
touch
here.
you when we meet you. And I just go, hey, this is great. You receive it with the most positive isms because that person could have just walked past.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you would never have had that moment and know that they love the work that you do.
I always think of the people that message me afterwards on Instagram and
Yes.
go, I saw you today at the mall and I wanted to come say
Yes.
hello, but I didn't. And then I don't get upset, but I'm like, why didn't you just come say
Come
hello?
say hi.
Come say hello. Next time you
Yes.
see me, come say hello. It's lekker. I love it. I love meeting you.
And they genuinely nervous because we experience the same things.
Yeah.
So when I meet sports people, for me is a thing because of my sports world.
Yeah.
And when I meet them, I have to be aware. And then I ask stupid questions. Then I remember meeting JP Dumini for the first time, and then I was like, "Yo, you bad quiet me, bro." What am I saying? What am I saying?
In that moment.
What
Well,
am I-
isn't he originally from Heathfield? Where's he from?
Stratfontein.
Stratfontein.
Yeah, he's Stratfontein. I was like, "Yo, you bad quiet." I'm like, that's the most random thing to tell someone. But in the moment, my brain just went, "Say what's on your mind." But he was cool because, again, South African people, they understand the memo and the assignment. And shout out to every South African who's in what we call the spotlight
Yeah.
for being a lekker human being.
Yeah.
And shout out to
True.
all the South Africans that support us. Like, people always go, "Who's your heroes?" And that's such a difficult question. But I always go, the heroes are the moms and dads that wake up every day
Yeah, 100%.
and show up for their family.
Especially the single moms and
Single
dads.
moms,
Yo.
and they're just showing up through
Yeah.
and through. And then you hear these stories of, this is the first graduate in our family.
Yeah.
This one just matriculate, they got a bursary, a scholarship, a provincial sports team, a this, a that. And the pride of 20 years later through our sacrifice and hard work, this is what we see.
Yeah,
For
it's
me,
true, man.
I'm like, that's the heroes.
I wanna take this moment also and give a shout out to the teachers. You know, you were a teacher
Oh,
yourself.
the teachers are heroes,
Bro,
man.
Like, we just come off a school tour now, and some of the school teachers that I had, that was my grade 7 teacher,
Yes.
is
Yeah.
still teaching, but still supporting. And I wonder what it's like for them to watch us on stage, coming back to
Yes.
motivate and inspire. But you were a part of my journey. You know,
Yes.
you can say that you
Through and through.
definitely added value to who I am today.
So
So I
much.
just want to send a shout out to all the great
Yeah.
teachers out there who's really passionate about what they do. Still, you know,
Piam, piam, piam,
you
piam.
you really don't get the flowers you
Yeah.
deserve. And I
Yeah.
just want to say we're sending you so much love and fuel, motivation to keep
Thank
doing
you.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, they show up every day, man. Thank you,
Dalin, I've got a
educators.
question for you.
Yes. Dum, dum, dum. It's the first time during this interview that you said that.
Before you ask him the trick question, I
Okay.
want to ask you one question. Now that you've accomplished so much, you've become an independent comedian. You are a
Yes.
small percentage of our country that can say you're an independent, successful
Yeah.
comedian
Yeah.
doing your thing. So, firstly, big ups to you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
And then, in the position that you're in now, what's one dream or goal that you still have on your heart, in your heart, on your mind, that you're really working towards?
So, it's such a difficult question.
Mm.
Every day, and I don't want to sound cliche, man, because I'm a very positive person.
Yeah.
But after this year of traveling and coming back to South Africa is always the best. I did the UK and Europe trip with my wife for a month, and then she was in Australia with me for a month. Each time we come back, I'm like, what a beautiful country.
Mm.
The people are amazing. Love this place to bits. We can't complain. So just trying to have positives of going, you can't complain. But the thing that I'd like to accomplish in the shortest answer is when I'm 60, I want to look back at this thing and say, I got to tell jokes all over the world.
Mm.
And I was fortunate enough to be able to use that to provide for my family
Love that.
and to set up spaces where people have more access. I
Mm.
would love to work in more educational spaces and it's important as South Africans, we understand this. We've got to pass over the baton
Yeah.
Yeah,
and create more spaces and
definitely.
more opportunities. So not looking back and go, I was a successful comedian, looking back and going, yo, I made people laugh, but I also managed to, with my friends, open up more doors for more people to have more access, whether it's education, sports, the arts, whatever it is, to allow them and be in the spaces where they can dream beyond their wildest dreams
Yeah.
and have some sort of facilitation space where you allow that to happen. And if I'm telling jokes at 60, it means that I've been fortunate enough to not have to go knock on the door and say, hey, I'm a qualified teacher.
Mm.
Do you think there's a position available for me? It means that my art has found spaces and people who love what I do.
Yeah.
And through that, they've supported it. It's a
Nice.
very,
I like
very, very difficult question.
the-
But,
yeah,
but if that happens at 60,
yeah.
I will be very happy.
That's a great answer, though.
It's a very difficult answer also because we all want to live the full dream. We're
Yeah.
all
Yes.
pushing to live the full
Yes.
dream, but we still have to have that attitude that nothing's guaranteed, and we need to keep working every day, bro.
I was laughing
Every day
as
is
you're
the same.
telling me you're independent comic. I'm like, yeah, no, my bro, the Tepatones, what a time. But again, South Africa, we know under pressure, diamonds are formed, man.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
And like you say, bro, you know, we got people that enjoy a good laugh to come out of South Africa,
Yes.
and they're definitely out there future comedians that are on the rise.
Through and through.
We-
More
we-
comedians, the better.
We
Yeah.
want you to join us on the school tour that's coming up.
I'd love to.
Can we have you on board
I'd
for
love
Best Foot
to.
Forward?
Please, please.
Fantastic, bro.
The magic of comedy is beyond the classroom or education because it's not just about stand-up, it's about public speaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always think that every youngster should have the opportunity to do drama.
Yeah. So
Learn
good.
how to talk in front of
Yeah,
people, especially
Good skill.
with this generation
Yeah.
who's a bit more online than us and not that socially savvy without throwing shade to them.
Yeah.
We see that technology comes first. With us, it was outside, friends first, people first,
Yeah.
interactions without technology. So drama will allow them to build the confidence
Yeah.
to speak publicly. When they go to university, they have the chance to do it. Or at school, if it's presentations. In life, they're going to have to have these moments because people interactions are going to get it over the line. Not an email, not technology, people interactions. And drama will facilitate the confidence.
Yeah.
Just speaking proudly with your accent, whatever it is, with your first language, whatever it is, not being shy of your circumstances or the community you come from, just exuding this confidence and going, I'm unapologetically me,
Yeah.
but I'm a good human first.
Yeah.
And if you do that, the future's bright because
it.
then it's a fearless generation who doesn't go, we're scared of stereotypes.
Yeah.
You go, I'm owning all of this and I'm going to make sure that we build a Springbok mentality
Yeah.
Yep.
wherever we are.
I
like
love
that.
that. Beautiful. Jay Smooth's going to take us out to the last question.
Is it?
Yeah, a young trick one.
Oh, this brother is good with words. He's so concise.
Yeah,
I learned from the best.
Yes, so you're so concise. Did. I go via the M5, the N1, and the M3.
If you could be any gibbet, you know what a gibbet is?
Yes,
eh?
yes.
If you could be any gibbet, what would you be and why? If you can't think of one that is out, they've got lots.
Okay.
You can make one up. But what gibbet represents you and why?
Yo, what gibbet represents me? Does it have to be?
Eggplant? No, I'm joking.
That's that's funny. That's funny. Send that to my wife before bedtime. Ooh, that's okay. So, if I could be a gibbet, I tell you now what I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be. We need to make this one now.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a trifle, and I speak about this in my show.
Yeah.
I say because the trifle represents South Africa. The layers and layers and layers
I like that.
of deliciousness. And the more we go into the layers, the more delicious it gets. And the flavors and the X factor and the secret ingredients that allows
Wow.
a trifle to be enjoyed all over the world. That's what South Africa
Yo,
is to me. The
that's good.
delicious
I like that.
isms. You know what I mean?
That's
Just
so
keep
cool.
adding stuff. And that's us. So that's my gibbet, a trifle.
Awesome.
The aunties that make it in a bath during festive
That's
season.
the best. That's the best reply to that question since we started.
Oh, is it?
That's the
cool,
best
yeah.
one.
Okay. Thank you. This was great, man. Yeah, no.
Thank you,
Someone want
brother.
to cry now.
Thank
really.
you.
It's a good therapy session.
Yeah.
But real talk, shout out to you guys for celebrating us, for celebrating people, celebrating South Africa, for celebrating the arts and the culture. And I mean this so sincerely because you approach it with so much love. Because I watch your stuff and all the people that you get on, you know them. You've seen the growth.
Yeah.
You've seen the journey. So it's like a personal catch up
Yeah.
that we're having where you're like, yo, bruh, 10 years ago.
Yo,
I will say, yo, you weren't that funny. I'm like, yeah, bruh, I didn't grow into my ears and my nose. I was this awkward lady with lekker big teeth. But we've seen that with
Yeah.
all of us, how we've just found our voice. And to sit down with you guys and have a sincere catch up, knowing what you know and what I know about all of our spaces, it's the
Yes.
best because I'm like, yo, man, can you imagine we're going to be at 40,
Yeah,
at
bro.
50,
Yeah.
at 60? We're just going to keep doing this and building more spaces for people to find their voice and the magic that they have inside.
I love that. Thank you, bro. We appreciate that really. And like you say, as we're growing, the beauty of it is we'll have more and more batons to pass on.
Yeah.
And we can definitely see like the future for me. I have this feeling sometimes and I have this vision. I can definitely see us working together going
Yes.
forward in the future and the power, you know,
Bro,
we can pass on
you're
inspiration.
gonna do jokes. I'm gonna dance and be like, I just
don't know
wanna do
about
the
that,
heartbeat. I get away when I work this out because I'm tired of fighting. I got this ice. You got served, Dalin, my
You're
bro.
taking us back.
A Marian in the rain. Do you guys remember that
Yeah.
scene?
You
The
can't
youth-
forget it, bro. Yo.
Yo, we watched that at one brother's house all the time. If they had the cassette to the DVD.
Yeah, that movie changed everything. No?
Game changer. bruh.
Everything. Straight after the movie, whoever was watching it with you, okay, there's 4 of us in the crew now. We're gonna go battle them down the road.
Immediately. Game changers. But yes, dude, love you guys' work and
Thanks
love
so
what
much,
you've been
bro.
doing.
Thank you. Bro, from us to you, we want to say a big thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your 10 years, you know. It's
Yeah.
been more than 10 years, but thank you for your journey.
Yes.
Thank you for not quitting because you could have. Thank you for always adapting and being flexible
Yeah.
enough to look for more opportunity and then grow in that opportunity
Thank
and
you.
then move on again. And then thank you also for what you offer the world right now. Because I was blessed to go to your show and I hope
Thank
that
you.
everybody watching takes the opportunity to
Yeah.
come and watch it
Thank
because
you.
it's going to be all around the country.
Yep.
I think that watching your show for me reminded me also of my own dreams, and it was so inspiring to see you and be like, we went to high school together, but you had your own dreams, and now look at what you're doing with your
Yeah.
dream, how many people you make laugh, and how big it is. You're international now, bro. And I was just so proud to be a friend of yours and to be
Likewise.
on the journey. So thank you for that, for being an inspiration. And like I say, we look forward to having you on board in the future at Best Foot Forward. We'll see you soon, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. We're not wrapping it up there. I must tell you guys nice things now because you can't tell such nice
Oh, we
things.
played
But the table tennis, no. Same with you guys. Where we go, we didn't know this thing, but also South Africa, we don't come from spaces where we go be creatives,
Yeah.
go be artists for numerous reasons, and then to figure it out,
Yeah.
and then see the growth and the journey happen. Like we speak about high school. bands who know you from high school be like, yeah, the bro was permy dancing at school.
Yeah.
If they see me, yeah, it was a naughty lady at school.
Yeah.
If they see you, they're like, yeah, you're probably the class clown at school. And then 15, 20 years later, the great lesson from that is if people ever speak to their children, they go, things can turn. It doesn't mean that if you're at high school and this is what happened, that is your trajectory.
For sure.
The movement is so fluid and so loose, and it's not just linear. There's so many roads.
Yeah.
So thanks for taking all the roads and shining on the local and international stage and just being amazing, man. Like, it's great to see people find their voice and flourish.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
Let's keep winning, bro.
Let's keep winning.
Just keep
Yeah.
supporting each other. I'm always supporting you, and I know likewise.
Appreciate it.
So thank you, bro. Appreciate
Away.
you. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the episode. What a phenomenal episode. You can see my cheeks are red through my brown skin from laughing, from smiling all the time. Dalin, you are absolutely amazing, brother. And then, of course, guys, as always, we got three pairs of Crocs that we're giving away in this episode.
Yeah.
An easy episode to show love. All you have to do is comment, like, follow on YouTube as well, and then share on other social media platforms. So you want to make sure that you're sharing on TikTok, Instagram. We're looking for you. We'll check who the most enthusiastic people are. Jay Smooth.
Don't forget to subscribe and turn that notification on because this one is a banger.
There we go. Big shout out to Crocs in the Road. We love you guys. And as always, we'll see you guys at the next episode of the Catch Up Podcast. Cheers.
Peace.